We are live. I believe we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another live coverage for Tropical Storm Rene and Laura. Today we are going to be going over both of these storms and the upcoming disturbance that could possibly be Sally and Invest 94L. As you can see here, this is the infrared imagery or the cloud tops of Tropical Storm Paulette, and as you can see, it is really blowing up those cloud tops near the center, and is really getting more and more organized, as I predicted. I am still running with 65 miles per hour, but I do believe that this could be a 70 mile per hour storm with that recent convection blow up, along with the cloud tops and thunderstorms. Now let's take a look at Rene. And Rene is getting slightly better cloud tops, but does not look very good. As you can see, it is very disorganized on this infrared. Now let's take a look at the GFS model real quick. And as you can see on the GFS, we have Paulette here and Rene here. This is at the 6-hour mark. Let's take it out to the 24-hour mark. And as you can see, both storms have appeared to intensify, except for Paulette, which is possibly not on the GFS model. But Rene certainly has. And it is expecting a weakening phase before Rene re-peaks once again at 985 millibars, possibly a moderate Category 1 hurricane at that point. And then, as Paulette goes on, it will have a peak. I believe it already had its peak at around 990, possibly 989. And then you can see this other disturbance down here. That disturbance is the one that is currently disturbance 2 marked by the NHC. That currently has a 70% chance of development. I'm going a little higher with the 2080 as the NHC has gone with the 1070. But as you can see, it is a 964 millibar hurricane, which is potentially a Category 3, and as it goes on, it even strengthens further to a 960 millibar by the end of the model run. And you can see Paulette barely hanging on up here at 998 millibars up north, looking like it's turning post-tropical at this point. And right here, this little swirl left is what is left of Rene. And as you can see, it is swinging back, so you never know with Rene, but not really a threat at the moment and not projected to be one either. Let's take a look at the 5-day graphical outlook. And as you can see, this is Invest 94L. I do not believe this will develop, but I do think there is a possibility. North Carolina and South Carolina, you should be on guard with the system. Paulette is not expected to make any impacts with land, although once again, East Coast, please monitor Paulette as anything is possible along with Rene. Although Rene is very unlikely to impact the East Coast, while Paulette does have a slight chance. This is disturbance 2 that I was talking about on the GFS model, and that is 1070, I have 2080. Now let's take a look at the wind shear. As you can see, Paulette is in quite high wind shear, but despite that, it is pushing through and still blowing up those cloud tops around the center, which shows that this storm is resilient, and you never know with the upcoming favorable wind shear and towards the end of the 5-day mark. As you can see, it does have some dry air ahead of it, which could cause a problem for the storm as well. But as we've seen with the wind shear, it is pushing past it and is being quite resilient at this point. And it will eventually go into weaker and less dry air and possibly more moist air as it continues on. It has created a path in between it, so it looks like it has killed off some of the dry air in front of it, although I do not think that will be the case the whole way. This is my projected path and intensity guidance for Paulette and Rene. And I have Rene peaking at 85 miles per hour in the next 5 days before weakening back to a tropical storm. And I have Paulette. This is higher than most of the model guidance and everything else. It's just that this has proved to be resilient, and I could see a more realistic peak at around 85 miles per hour here and not 90. So, you never know with Paulette. I just think Paulette will be stronger than expected. At least a hurricane, not even necessarily 90 miles per hour, more like 80, 85 miles an hour. More likely 90 at around the maximum peak at this point. And as you can see again over here, it does weaken on both of them, but I do expect Paulette to have a slight re-strengthening phase over here, possibly back to a Category 2. A slim chance for a 3 at this point. Slight chance, but a slim chance. Now let's take a look back at the icon model as well, with what it has to say. While that loads, I will be taking a couple questions if anyone wants to ask them. Please ask them now. I will check back on that in a second. Please leave your questions below. I will go over the icon model while I wait. As you can see, the icon model is not nearly as high on these systems as the GFS is, and the GFS isn't even that high on it. But you can see one thing that it is high on is that potential system back here that is coming off, and it actually does show development on Invest 94L right at the coast before going back out to see what it shows. But the strongest storm here, clearly from the the icon model, is disturbance number 2 marked by the National Hurricane Center at 997 millibars, and will likely continue that strengthening trend on their model shown by the GFS, and also the European model, which I will show you now. This is 5 days out on the European model. Let's take it back a little bit to about 2 days. You can see quite clearly here, this is Paulette and Rene. We will actually go here so we can see the pressure that they're giving it. And as you can see, quite weak storms for Paulette and Rene, which is quite a trend, but I do not necessarily agree with that trend in the models. I think they will at least peak at a Category 1, not necessarily any higher though. But another trend with the models is actually that system will be quite strong, although on this model run it doesn't really show it, but I believe on the 0Z model run it was very high. Yeah, you can see it at a 968 millibar, and then Paulette it actually put as a 965 millibar. So, as you can see, that is why I think there's the possibility that Paulette could be a Category 3 at the end. I do not know what happened. There might have been a glitch within the system. I don't know how it goes from a 965 millibar system to a 1009 millibar system in one model run. I think that might have been a systematic glitch, as it wasn't just like that one was just once. It's actually been quite high on Paulette as well. So let's see if there was any questions. No, there has not been. No questions so far. And I would like to ask you, and I would like to all thank you for getting me so close to 1,000 views. We will likely get there by tomorrow, so I do greatly thank you for that. That will get me to my 1,000 view mark. And if you would like to help me get to 50 subscribers, please hit that subscribe button down below. Now let's take another look at my projected forecast. And again, I am actually going now with 45 miles per hour currently for Rene. I made this a little bit earlier as the satellite estimates for NOAA actually are going with 45 miles per hour at this current moment in time. Again, any questions that you have, please leave them in the chat below. They will be answered. Now let's take another look at the GFS model run. Now let's actually look at some of the hurricane model runs. And let's go with the HWRF on Paulette. As you can see, it does keep it as a quite weak system as it goes on. It doesn't really show any much intensity with it. It does show this, which is near hurricane status, but not at hurricane status. And just a continued weakening trend other than a quick hop down back to 999 here. And it continues that trend the whole way. Now let's take a look at the HMON model for Paulette. And as you can see, this is 6 hours out. And it does show Paulette being quite close to hurricane status. And if we take it a little bit further, as you can see, that purple here does show that the H1 model does expect at least a Category 1 from the system. And if we continue to take it, you can see that it maintains that hurricane status for quite a while before actually continuing to intensify probably throughout the entirety until towards the end of the model run. But as you can see, it does have it maintaining hurricane status for quite a while and possibly peaking at around 80 to 85 miles per hour. So that is something very interesting that we should be looking out for. Again, this will be a quick live stream. Nothing much. A very quick live stream here. And it'll likely only go on for another 5 minutes. Let's take another look back at these. As you can see, again, Rene is a very disorganized mess, but I do expect it to get better over the coming days as conditions become more favorable before becoming unfavorable again, and weakening is expected. Now let's take another look back at Paulette, which has blown up thunderstorm convection and activity with it, and I believe the satellite estimates did put the center down here, but if you can see that rotation within those very high cloud tops, I am going to put the center in the middle of all that right here. Again, slight possibility for a Category 3, possible Cat 2, very likely Category 1 in my opinion. Not saying that it will or it is guaranteed, just saying that in my opinion it is quite likely. And thank you all guys for watching today's live stream. We will be signing off early. Thank you guys for watching and signing off.